In the summer before 6th grade, I spent most of my time at my best friend's house. And on one particular day, I went into his room and he introduced me to a program he had found on the internet. And for that, I am forever grateful to him. The program was called Game Maker. And yes, it does exactly what it says. Just so you have an image in your head, the icon for Game Maker is a red circle with a golden hammer on the front. And to use Game Maker, you would take a game idea and then create a bunch of assets for it. The graphics, which would include the player, the enemies, the backgrounds, all the objects in your game, and you would make your own sound effects and your own music. And then, roughly speaking, you would combine all of these assets and describe the environment that the game takes place in. Additionally, you would describe how all of the elements in the game interact with each other by programming the computer to make it so. Something that's really fun is that you can test your game at any time you want. Just imagine this screen and you're working on it and everything is frozen in place. You've drawn all your characters, you have your background set up, you have your room and your enemies, but it's all frozen. And you just bring your mouse up to the start button and click it. And all of a sudden it says loading. And then your game comes to life. Your ideas come to life. Now, to understand what this meant to a 13-year-old, I want you to go back to your childhood, early childhood, and remember how you used to play pretend. Remember it. You imagined entire realities, and although us mature adults look down on that as being childish now, it's actually an impressive feat of cognition. Think about it. How many of us here can imagine as well as a child can? I doubt one of us can, right? So go back to your childhood and remember how much fun you used to have. Now, how would you have felt if you were given the means to turn your thoughts into reality? How would you have felt? Well, for me, it was like magic. It was the most fun I had ever had in my life. It was so fun that I made games for years. And continued use of Game Maker forced me to become a better person. Remember, all of the graphics, the sounds, the backgrounds, everything you see, hear, and experience in a game was the creation of someone. Think about the screen and picture all of the moving entities on the screen. Somebody literally had to sit down and take the time to make all of that. So it's one thing to have a great idea for a game, but where are you going to get all the resources to make it? Let me tell you. In the days before we all had our personal laptops, and everyone in the house had their own laptop, I was using a family computer, Compaq Presario, you remember this? And it had no internet, Windows 98, and Microsoft Paint. And this was before flash drives. So those resources were all going to come from me. So as a 13-year-old, I had to teach myself so many new skills. I had to teach myself to animate. I had to draw every single character frame by frame for every single possibility, every single action. For example, running, walking. I had to draw every single frame, right? Jumping, sneaking, and diamond, but I'm not going to act that out. So for all of those actions, I would have to draw it frame by frame. And that was pretty hard. And I had to teach myself how to write my own music. And additionally, if I had any questions, because I had no internet, I had to read the manual. But that's cool. That taught me to be intrepid. So that's cool. So from the very beginning, I learned self-reliance. And through continued use, I enhanced my imagination and my creativity. All of this learning had massive consequences. For example, in 6th grade, I was in Gem Math. The smart people math. Well, I got a C. And my teacher recommended that I continue in regular math. And I did for many years. And I felt stupid. I felt like I didn't understand math. It wasn't my thing. But I was game making all that time. And I was learning programming. And through continued practice in programming, I eventually gained a deep love for mathematics. And eventually in college, I ended up taking algebra, calculus, and linear algebra in the same semester. But by that time, my understanding of math was so great, I got straight A's without taking a single note. And that's just one example of many where the education that I got from GameMaker benefited me. Now, it is my personal belief that I would not have gained those abilities to such an extent otherwise. I find it very intriguing that sometimes seemingly insignificant events in our lives can have profound impacts on our character. Because of GameMaker, I developed a comprehensive skill set, I enhanced my imagination, my creativity, and my self-reliance, eventually becoming an intrepid individual. And for that, I am grateful. Thank you.